So I'm going to start with the top part of the head. And I guess you can guess what it is in the comments if you wish. And I'm just starting to build up what I think would be nice for the face that I have in mind. So it starts off a bit like a stick man. And I think you can probably guess what it is pretty quickly. But obviously the pencil is just to get my overall structure of what I'm going to draw, and then obviously add more details as we go. It's looking a bit more like a horse at the moment. I'm just trying to establish the shape of my beastie. Just that little lip there, I think adds quite a lot to it. I've got quite a well sharpened pencil, which always adds some niceness to it, I think. Going for a crazy kind of plate head, I think. And I want to kind of carry that gnarliness down. Going to have kind of lighter, more flexible plate on the under bit of the neck. It's very quiet today. I hope you guys are all okay. Giant hooks. Just want it to look like it's clambering across the floor. And the wings kind of popping out the shoulder, I think. Some big wavy business. Don't like necessarily how this arm is coming for, but I kind of want it as like a bit of a kind of lunge or something. It looks a bit of a mess, if I'm honest, but you kind of get to see the underbelly a bit. That's just a sketch anyway, it's all good. I'm going to start adding some ink work. I want to give that kind of eyes slightly looking backwards, kind of shifty kind of vibe. Again, drawing those kind of flatter plates that kind of overlap a bit so his armour can flex with his movements. I'm just filling in what I've drawn in pencil, really. Adding a few lines here and there just to emphasise, and it really comes alive when you do more colour. So if you're watching and for whatever reason I can't see that you're watching, feel free to suggest colour schemes for my dragon. I don't know if you guys are busy today or something, but it seems really quiet. Anyway. So I'm pressing really lightly now with my brush pen just to get those teeth nice and real nice. A bit too much there, but it's alright. I think I'm going to jump on, I'll do the under wing as well. And a bit there. And I think, zoom in a bit. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. So I'm going to use a light green, a darker green, and to contrast that I'm going to have some orange and a very light orange. That will counter the I don't know if one of these pens is leaking, but it looks a bit, some of the pens are covered in gunge. Anyway, so I'm going for a green and orange dragon. I hope you're okay with that. If I can see someone's just started watching, I can't see who that is. Feel free to say hello in the comments if you're enjoying it. I'm going to do kind of like the top half more green, so when he's lying on grass, and then the bottom half's going to be red, because he comes from a very fiery environment, and he flies at sunset. That's my logic. So I'm going to get a darker green as well, I think. That's a really dark green, but hopefully I can blend a bit better on this one. So I'm going to start with the lighter shades, and I'm going to focus on the top areas, and then I'm going to use the darker shades of green for the bits where the light is shining on, I think. So I'm using the brush bit of the nib. I've left it a few minutes. I'm going to work where I started drawing to where I ended. In that way, this ink will be properly dry by the time I get to it. And I'm already liking this colour scheme. I think I might do the tips of the wings orange as well. Trying to capture the curves of the limbs. And there'll obviously be shade underneath his body, right down to the tip. And I'm going to start introducing the slightly darker shade, and I'm hoping it will blend in. I might have to go back over the light and for the under section. So again, I want the darker bits on the underside of him. And I'm going to do the underlimbs here and the under wing in the really dark green. And that's because I don't want to kind of focus on them because they're the bits out of sight, but I do want to acknowledge that they're there and just kind of hint that they're in shadow. So that is my logic. Oops, wrong side. This is a really dark one. So I might add this into some other places where I feel I know that looks a mess, but hey, it's okay. So I'm going to come back with the light green and try and blend these colours. The good thing about this marker paper is it doesn't go through, which is good. So really trying to get those in between areas, letting the alcohol soak into the two bits of colour and just blend them nicely. And that's hopefully what they do. It kind of breaks up those areas that are in between. Filling in some of those white spots that I missed. And I'm going to jump on the super dark, and I'm just going to add some areas that are really real crevices, real places where, you know, under the armpits they're going to be really dark. Get this place is really dark. Kind of behind the head and underneath these kind of ridges under the chin. In some of these areas. And then I'm going to jump back onto the medium one and just work on those, just kind of, again, blend them in. And I've accidentally coloured in the eyes, which I didn't want to do. But I can bring that back, so that's fine. I want to bring back the light green as well. Just going to grab the completely white one. What you can do is push this light in that area around the eye, which should be good. And then I'm going to start with the orange, but I'm going to start with the dark orange this time, show you what happens. Just going for a bit of a Dragon Ball Z kind of style in terms of colour. He looks a bit like Piccolo, who's one of the characters, except he has these kind of pink muscles that are kind of stick out. And I'm going to jump onto my lighter colour, which is not actually that light, kind of like custard, but hey, I like custard. And the oranges and greens often work really well together. Just adding 2 shades of yellow, kind of quite close together, I think works quite well. Just going to put a dot on each of the bits of teeth. and then I'm going to try really neatly to put quite a dark pink or purple in for the gobs. If I can, I think I can. And for now, I think that's okay. I'm gonna put away my ink pen, my thingy pens now, and I'm going to just add some white, and I definitely want to put some around the eyes. Put a blob in there. Just dab it with my finger to soften it. I was going to start going over the edges. And I'm thinking that the sun's coming from the top, so I'm going to try and put the highlights kind of around the edge and where the sun would catch it. And these highlights also inform the viewer when you're looking at it, kind of the texture, kind of like the if I put a lot of this in, I could make this dragon look metallic, or I could make it look wet, depending on how much of this on. And that's basically based on reflectivity. So if you look at a surface when you're out on a walk or whatever, and you see little specks of light on things, I mean, just looking at me right now, it's probably quite hard to see, but you can see the light reflection here is quite like soft, but the light on here, if I catch wherever the light is, nails up there, you see how that catches a reflection of the light in the room. Here you can see how the light is reflected on my fingers, so you can draw those on surfaces, like putting a lot of sharp on there shows that the nails are made of a different material. Like certain things are more reflective than others, obviously. Your eyeballs reflect light a lot because they're moist, because you've got water, you've got tears, you've got a lot of liquid around the eye to keep it wet, because when eyes dry out, it's not good for them. So your body keeps your eyes liquided, hydrated, and that's why you often see reflections in the eyes, so you can do things like that. So that's a good tip. And even in the dark areas. And what I can do is I can just dab my finger on these just to soften them. If they dry already, then you can't, so you have to do it straight away if you want it to look smudged. And I like to do this when I'm doing like clouds and things. You can add little zigzags. On cheaper paper, on paper where the alcohol soaks in a bit more, it stays a bit wetter for a bit longer. And if you then go over with this white pen too early, you get very subtle changes of colour to your white lines, which is okay because you just go over the top again with white and then it's fine. But so I'm adding some zigzags just to break up some of this pressure, some of this texture, because I kind of want the wings to look a bit kind of membraney, so I might actually add just a little bit of pink over the top of the green, and what that does is it just adds a hue of warmth to it. I'm not going to do too much though. And it doesn't take away the green, it just mixes it a bit, which is cool, I think. And it makes all those lines I just drew pink instead of white, which is very cool. And then I can come back over the top with fresh white again. Yeah, I don't know about the pink wings, but it's cool. It still looks good, in my opinion. And I'm doing this for me as much as I'm doing it for you, so what I think matters. I'm just covering over those darker lines that I did earlier just to kind of break them up a bit. Here as well. I'm just going to smudge over the top just so they kind of soften a bit. There's a bit of a smudge going on here, so I'm going to jump back onto my brush pen and I'm just going to redo that line. And I'm going to get rid of some of these construction lines that are in pencil. Just being careful to make sure things are dry, and I'm brushing the rubber parts away from my drawing, not over the top of it, because that can be an issue as well. I'm going to add a nice grey underneath, maybe hue it with a bit of going to add a nice greeny grey, and I want to add some shadow underneath, just a little bit, just to show so the bits that are in contact with the ground get a bit darker. And let's have a little bit of darker here. I think I can go even darker with that. Oh, not even on the screen, I do apologise. And if I just come back with the other one, soften all that. I'm doing a lot more soaking than I normally do, and as you see, it hasn't leaked through at all. which is really nice. So if you're doing a page of comics, you've got a nice pad like this one is, you probably can't see, but it's a more absorbent paper, and what it means is like you've got run a risk if you put too much on of it soaking through. So you've got to be quite careful. Whereas if you get the proper marker paper stuff, then it doesn't, which is good. Have another swig of my coffee, I think. I want to do something with the eyes. Look how mucky that pen is. So I'm going to leave the white in the middle and I'm just going to go around the edge. I don't know if this pen is leaking. And let's show the eyes really close. Oh, good stuff. Add some wrinkles around the eyes, I think. And just a little. Maybe add some breath. Very lightly with a very pale grey. And as we've got 10 minutes left, let's draw a quick night. Panicking, probably. We'll have a little guy. He's got his arm up. He's got a shield. Got his shield tight against his body, I think. Got his kneeling down, I think, to make his body as small as possible. And I'm not going to rub this out, but I'm just going to lightly rub over it with my rubber just to go over the areas that I really want to. His hand here. I'm going to be holding a spear, because I think a sword in this situation would probably not do much, because, well, maybe it would. I'll have him on a rock because he looks like he's floating in the air otherwise. He'll be wearing a helmet. I'm going to have him as a Roman, I think. Like a Spartan or something. except the Romans didn't often have round shields, they had long flat ones, so so they could do the old turtle formation. Right, let's zoom in on this guy so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to colour this guy in with a different pen. And part of the reason I like to go over with pen is the alcohol markers affect pencil lines. They smudge them. It doesn't look good. I mean, it looks alright, but I think often if you're drawing a dragon or an animal or some kind of mythical creature or anything, it's important to give it context. So if this dragon is here, if you're trying to convey realism or convey something of a scene, then why is the dragon there? Why is it looking angry? Why is it looking like it's stomping or it's up for a fight? And until I drew this little man, the dragon just looked like it was stomping around for no reason. It looked like a standalone picture. Whereas just by adding one little dude on a nice little rock with some little Y shapes, little veins, I think the picture already looks substantially better. I don't know what you guys think. And the Viking, not the Viking, this little dude is going to be wearing red, I think. Give off a Spartan vibe. Gold helmet. Gold, I don't actually have gold, but I'll be using yellow. And I think the back of his shield is wood, even if the front has got metally bits. So let's start with the I mean, he should probably be breathing fire on him at this point, but a bit darker under the arms, a bit darker on this side, I think. And I really like, I'm going to do some fleshy bits. And then let's add some armour. Ooh, wrong side. And his pole's going to be made of wood. And I think a nice dark grey for his shoes. Or sandals or whatever, but I'm just going to put him in wellies, I think, just because... I feel sorry for Romans, always getting wet feet, wearing sandals all the time, but I guess they come from a hot country. When they came to England to conquer, they probably didn't enjoy the weather and they didn't have appropriate footwear, so I'm giving this Roman wellies. And I haven't drawn any features because it's really, really small, but I am going to put a grumpy face on. Oh, I look grumpy. I was going to add a few bits of what I did that were extra. Guys, I'm really enjoying this live stream. I know no one's watching it live today, which is fine. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I hope you guys are too, and that you watch it later. I think just this little guy is amusing me more than anything. So I've got my darker red. Just going to add it in a few places. And I'm just going to add like a few bits of fiery breath coming out. Just like he's going to catch fire. What's a dragon without a bit of fiery breath? Could add some yellow behind this. That doesn't look super realistic. I don't really care. It's fine. I'm gonna add some more vibrant reds. And I think if I add a little bit of white to that, and then I will probably add a few bits of grey to the base and then call it a day. So I'm adding the grey over the top of all my colour that I've already done, just to make it look just because I'm fiddling about. I'm going to draw some downed helmets. Just add some scenery, some bits of and bone grey, I don't know. Add a bit of grey around these. And I'm almost there, guys, so bear with me. Hey Matthew, how you doing? Sorry, I'm just about to finish. Let's just add some white to all of this. Yeah, I did put it down as 11 and then I changed it back to 10. So it's kind of my fault. So I do apologize for that. Yeah, sorry about that, Matthew. What do you think of the drawing anyway? Add in a few dots here and there just to make it look cool. We've been out, so did not see the change. Yeah, it is my fault. I did change it. I had a delivery coming between 9 and 11, and I was paranoid that it was going to come in the middle of the live stream, so I moved live stream to 11, and then they texted me this morning pretty early to say, oh yeah, we're coming at 9, and they did. So I was able to do it at 10, so I changed it back to 10, but obviously that mucked up with some of you guys' plans, so I do apologise. I'm going to add some white here just to emphasise the fire. I hope you can forgive me, Matthew. The dragon is so cool. Dragons versus Romans. What do you think the dragon should be called? What do you think the dragon should be called? Dave! Dave the dragon! Well, this guy, what would this guy be called then? Winston. I don't know. I've added a lot of little details. I'm using, instead of my pad, which absorbs a lot more, I'm using this stuff, bleed proof. And it just makes the paper, it just makes it a lot better. one, it doesn't leak through, but two, it just blends better. So I feel like I need to zoom in on this guy, because can I zoom in? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I can. Okay, there we go. Dave. And some of those funny little details at the bottom. We will rewatch the recording back. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, that's great. Feel free to still comment in there, as you would. Also, if you want to do a drawing as well, Matthew, having seen the final thing, I'd love to see what you guys are drawing. And also, there's some workshops starting this afternoon. One making again. I know you've already done that one, actually. And we're doing spinning tops next week. Not next week, the week after next. But there's also a special effects one starting on Tuesday, which is all about like making like prosthetic wounds and growths and things growing out your hands, and pretty cool and disgusting. So if anyone wants to book on that, it should be really fun and gory, and or you could make it alien kind of thing. Sorry, I was just adding some. What I'm doing is I'm just smudging it before it dries so I can add subtle light areas. Kind of a good technique actually with this pen. It's like there's a balance between smudging too much and not at all. Like you count to 3 and then smudge 1, 2, 3, and it leaves a bit of a smudge. I don't know what to think about the ham-coloured wings, but I don't know. I dig them. They look good. Let's zoom out again. Yeah, I streamed this on my phone today because I was fed up of the drop frames, if I'm honest. But I'm going to still try and work out how to make that better. My device just doesn't seem to work the way that I thought it would. So anyway, yeah, so this is my drawing. Gone over a little bit just because I wanted to talk to you, Matthew. So dragon versus Roman. I started with the dragon basically, and then I was like, oh, the dragon needs something to do. Let's fight a little guy. I drew a guy with a shield who was going to be a Viking, and then he turned into a Roman. So there you go, Romans versus dragons. Maybe it's when the Romans first went to Wales and had to fight a Welsh dragon. I don't know. Maybe you could write a story or think up a cool story and tell me it. That'd be really cool. Could do a comic series on Dave versus Bob.